Hey guys, Eric Cleary, co-founder of Orange's Property Management and the team lead with the investment team at Remax Niagara. I'm here today with our in-house mortgage specialist, Johnson Andrews. Always a great time to spend some time with you, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
So guys, today we're actually here with another crazy, interesting topic. And the question is, the pros and cons of buying your first rental property. What are they? What decisions should you make? How can this video maybe enlighten your thinking, shift your thinking, or just give you some additional information you might not be sure of right now to help you make that decision? So in this video, I'm going to talk about a big decision that you might be considering right now, whether or not to buy an investment property. If you're on the fence about what to do, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll have all the information you need to make an informed decision. So guys, should you invest in a rental property or a home? Johnson's obviously going to dive quickly into what it looks like from a lending perspective. You know, some people might better qualify for an investment property versus buying a first home. I think he'll be able to speak to sort of what variables would be considered in that sort of situation. Now, before I let Johnson sort of take over, buying your first home, there's tons of benefits to that, from personal to financial and everything in between. Now, buying a home to live in truly is, it's an investment, absolutely. It's more of a forced savings, all right? And that's something we can explain to you guys and touch on if we get the chance to connect with you and show you the numbers and go more in depth on that. Buying an investment, what makes it more of an investment property when you start to bring in tenants is it's not you as the homeowner paying all those bills and interest, and that sort of makes it more of a savings. When you rent your house, when you buy a house and allow a tenant to pay those bills, that's what truly makes it an investment, because those interest costs are being covered by the tenant. Property taxes are being covered by the tenant. Everything's being covered by the tenant, and that's what truly makes it an overall investment vehicle. So Johnson, based on what I just said, if you want to sort of dive into, you know, what would better qualify someone to maybe buy an investment and enjoy, you know, stay where they're currently at, whether it's renting or living with family, and then what that would look like. Maybe touch on house hacking.
Yep.
Because you don't have to go fully in or out. You could potentially move into one unit if it's a duplex.
Absolutely.
And rent out the other. There's different options. So I'll let you kind of speak to everyone on your professional opinion.
Thank you, buddy. So I think one of the points that you finished off with is the idea of buying a property, not necessarily with the intention on living in it, but using it as an investment in order to generate wealth, in order to generate income, in order to build up equity in something moving forward into the future, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's important when you're looking at it is, when you buy a property, are you going to live there or are you going to rent it out? And part of which is something that when you're making that decision is, can I afford a property that I would be happy to live in, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people, when they're first getting into the market, they might already be in a fantastic rental with a good price that's well taken care of, given the fact that they're renting one of the units that you manage. I know that they're all fantastic.
Thank you.
But when you look at the idea of buying a property, the price point maybe you can get in at doesn't meet your needs as maybe a family. It doesn't have enough bedrooms. It doesn't necessarily have enough space for you to live in. And you might be better served staying in that rental. That doesn't mean that you have to give up the idea of home ownership. You can still rent out a property in which that you currently are in, buy a property to get those benefits of home ownership, whether it be appreciation of the asset, whether it be income on a month-to-month basis from a rental perspective, or even cash and even incentives on a tax benefit when it comes to the interest you can write off, which then you can gain and use those appreciation in the asset so that you can sell in the future to then take that money to go buy your end home.
Yeah, and like you just like income qualification, right? Yep. So let's say we rent out a duplex. Yep. They stay renting their rental from me or wherever they are. That duplex generates $50,000-$60,000 a year. Now you can take their personal income plus the rental income, and then go qualify them for that home.
Exactly.
They really want.
So the idea is we truly do believe in the benefits of home ownership, but we also want to make sure that it fits your needs for you and your family. So the idea here is we can create a plan for you where maybe you stay in your existing home, buy yourself an investment property that then generates you more wealth and income, which then over time, as it appreciates, we can tap into to access more funds for your down payment, while also having income from that property to help you qualify for the home that you and your family will move into. And now all of a sudden you're in a position where you have 2 properties rather than none.
Absolutely. And you know what, guys? These are conversations you can have with us one-on-one, together in a group setting. And we really can just go through and start knocking off all these questions and understanding your situation better and showing you the way forward. Now, that was all the pros, right? And there's many more that we don't have time to crunch and squeeze into this video. Next are some of the cons. So what's some of the cons of buying a rental versus a home to live in? And I know some of you are going, well, being a landlord, that doesn't sound fun. Toilets and, plumbing issues on Christmas Day. That's where a guy like me and Johnson, this is a whole network and team of professionals, I really keep you as an investor. I remove you from the landlord category where I will be taking those calls as a property manager. I will be doing the inspections. So you don't have to take on, when you go to the bank and you ask for a mutual fund or to buy a stock, they don't give you a list of stuff you have to do. All you got to do is wire the money and now you own it.
Now you have a professional that manages it for you, right?
Right. There's not like you got to run 10 kilometers, take calls about plumbing issues, and blah, 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 the list goes on. You simply, move the money. And no different with the sort of network and systems that I've built is same thing. You make the capital investment, and I have things in place all across the spectrum to ensure that you remain an investor and not a landlord. So, but the cons would be, let's say you don't want to hire a property manager. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of other things to be responsible for versus being a homeowner, right? Being a homeowner, it's like, I want to water my gardens. I want to, you got to pay your property tax. You got to set up insurance. Yep. That list is obviously significant longer when you become a landlord. So that would be one of the cons. Johnson, you got any more?
The idea that you're trying to say, I think too, just to make it easier to even comprehend, when you buy an investment property, you're a business owner now. That property is a business. So when that happens, there are responsibilities that you take on that are added to your plate that then you have to start to manage and take care of, right? Yeah. Now, from my perspective as a business owner, the things that I'm not the best at, I outsource, right? Yep. So that's where, to me, when what might be considered a con, where it takes up more of your time to manage the property, for a small expense in terms of hiring the professional, that con can be eliminated, and then you really only deal with the pros. And I think the other side of it is we can factor the cost of property management into anything when we're making a decision on a purchase.
Sure.
So that then you are always getting the best guidance after buying to ensure that those tenants that you're now managing aren't necessarily your responsibility. You're paying for the professional to take care of it.
And last thing, guys, that was great, Johnson, before we move on, is you might factor in my gross management fee is anywhere from 8 to 10%. So through our experience, knowledge, network of professionals, it might not actually be a direct cost to you as the investor, because we might save you a lot of money that you might otherwise spend or lose on your own, whether that be shrinking vacancies and keeping that vacancy almost at zero. Getting cost-effective solutions to plumbing issues, electrical, the list goes on, where you as an individual without connections might pay a little bit more than a corporate sort of company like myself who's established relationships over the course of 5, 6, 7 years. But anyways, guys, these are all things we can shed more light on if you give us the chance to speak with you directly. And as always, we would love that opportunity to connect with you guys, understand your situation, understand, the fact that you might have more options than you think. And that's what makes part of what we do such a beautiful thing, honestly, is there's people that we speak to that didn't know this was possible. Yep. And after 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours, a couple months, that thing that seemed so far-fetched becomes reality. Last thing I want to talk about in this video is house hacking. And we touched on it earlier in the beginning, but there doesn't have to be this dichotomy of buy a home or pure rental. There's this nice little sweet, let's call it gray area, which is better known as real estate investing, is house hacking, where you can buy a home in a nice area that you like, maybe not the nicest area, but a nice, good quality neighborhood, you can go through the city, you can get permits, and we can legalize your basement or legalize the second story or legalize the detached garage. There's different rules in different cities. So we would speak to this depending on what geographical area you're interested in. So house hacking is essentially that. You move in, you have a tenant cover the majority of your expenses, and that makes it, still a personal home, but also more of an investment vehicle. Not that, again, home ownership's not an investment. It certainly is. It gives you better returns when you start adding rental income into the equation. So I'll let Johnson talk a little bit about house hacking, how that works from a lending perspective, how that might affect your first-time home buyer qualification, because this is the guy that knows everything you need to know about that, and I'll let him sort of take over and speak to you guys on that.
So, like you said, the benefit of house hacking is almost like you get the best of both worlds in almost one unit, right? Yep. So you have your property, which now has the unit in which that you inhabit, and then off the basement or on the main floor, depending on which one that you prefer, you can derive rental income from that unit, right? This obviously helps offset some of the carrying costs that come with home ownership, and it's going to make your life easier when it does come to qualifying for a loan, because the more income that you have on an application, the more options you're going to have when it comes to qualifying.
Yep.
Now, the best part about it, in terms of you being potential first-time home buyers, is you still reap the rewards of all of the benefits that come with that, because you are intending on occupying one of those units. So when you think of being a first-time homeowner, one of the things that comes with that is you get land transfer tax rebates on the purchase price to help alleviate some of those closing costs. You have the ability to pull from your RRSP up to $35,000 without paying tax, as long as it's paid back over a 15-year period.
Yep.
And then as long as the property is intended to at least have one of the units occupied by you, if that purchase price is under $1 million, we can put down less than 20% of the purchase price. So with that in mind, if you're buying a pure rental, the typical down payment is 20% of the purchase price, right? So here you are, you get to own a unit, you get to rent out a unit, but you don't have to stay the same capital requirements upon purchasing that you would otherwise do to get the benefits of a rental property, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So the idea here is like the hacking goes not only into helping alleviate costs, but it goes into in terms of carrying them every single month.
Yeah.
But the hacking also comes back to capital requirements to purchase. Because, for example, if you buy a $500,000 property, if you plan on using it as just a rental, the down payment requirement would be $100,000.
Yep.
20% of the purchase price.
Yep.
If you're buying a property in which that there's 2 units there, well, if you're occupying one of them on that same $500,000 purchase, you only need a $25,000 down payment. And it's like you're splitting the difference between you get the benefits of living there and the first-time home buyer benefits, and you still get some rental income to help offset things without having to put in $100,000.
And then the cool part, guys, as we wrap this video up, Johnson, thanks. That was well articulated. I appreciate that. The best part, guys, is while he's sitting here talking, I'm always learning too. So don't feel like you're the ones learning. I'm sitting here. I got my invisible notebook making notes. We talk every day. So if I don't catch everything he's saying, I'm just going to call him 5 times and get the info.
Easy guy to get a hold of. So that's the fun part.
Absolutely. See, I told you 5 times. He usually answers 75% of the time. So anyways, the last thing, guys, the cool thing is this isn't just that first property. It might not be your dream home, right? It could check off 6 of 10 boxes or 5, but that investment property after 1, 2, 3, even 4 years, you don't have to sell it. You can leverage that to then go buy that house you really want. And before you know it, you can be real estate investors. That first property you bought with your girlfriend, you as a single, your wife, your husband, whatever it may be, that property might be used for your kids' education one day. It might be used to retire. It might be used to fund vacations annually. Whatever it is, right? Those are all things we can talk about. It doesn't have to be something that's only temporarily. Now, it could be, but it certainly could be something that maybe you own for 5, 10, 20, 40 years. Like there's no reason to sell if it fits into your sort of lifestyle and aligns with your goals. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching this video. We sincerely appreciate it. Our focus here is to try to get in front of people that are unsure, or maybe they have some information and they need a little bit more. We just want to be able to help as many people as we can and share this information because not everybody has it. It's not always easy to find information that's local, pertaining to your local economy, pertaining to your city rules, pertaining to your provincial. You know what I mean? So
to give clarity and educate.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, we both went through the education system. We
Yeah.
went to the same university.
Yeah.
I did my undergrad finance, right, and in business.
international relations and labor studies.
Yeah, and to be fair, our education system when it comes to personal finance, it sucks.
Yeah.
And to me, and Eric as a partnership, it's our mandate to educate and provide clarity to as many people as possible. And that's what these videos are for, is to stimulate conversation and
Yep.
to help you get into the goal and get into and meet your goal of potential home ownership. Right.
All right, guys. Absolutely, man. And every sort of opportunity to speak with you guys is something we enjoy. We just chatted with someone yesterday. He's just finishing up school. His girlfriend is a full-time nurse. And, you know, it's fun to have those initial calls and really start to, you know, it might be a year out for those folks to buy a home, but just to get the conversation started and help them sort of understand what's going to be responsible on their end to ultimately get to that goal. That's something that myself and Johnson promise to take our time explaining, guiding, educating on whatever sort of topic we can to help you guys get there. All right, Johnson, thank you so much. For all you guys checking in, thank you again. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. We will talk to you guys soon.